Nation, Sanbonan Bafetu. Welcome back to Football Trends with me, the QB. I'm sure you guys have been waiting for me to hear what I think or what my thoughts are about yesterday's game, since we got eliminated from the MTN8 from the quarterfinals, and obviously which was a blunder by obviously people I want to say Brendan Peterson, but for me, looking at the whole situation, I think the whole club made a big mistake, and then we fumbled, and that's why we ended up in that situation. But first things first, I do have some updates. Please don't forget to like the video, by the way, subscribe to the channel. So the updates that I do have, because on yesterday's game, there are players that were not present, players that we did not get to see play or even in the match day squad. Those two players that I'm talking about is Ethan Chislett, who obviously can play as an attacking midfielder, and then also we had Omji Talapana, which is of Flavio da Silva. Now, both players, according to the coach or Kaizer themselves, they say Abajita, they got injured during training, so that's why they did not risk bringing them to yesterday's game. So that's why Azanga Simone Flavio Silva in the match day squad, same as Ethan Chislett, because if you remember correctly, Chislett had a very good game, the first game that we played. But then looking at this new game that we played yesterday, things were a bit different, a bit difficult. Now, I do remember saying that it's not going to be easy for us, because obviously we are kind of like starting afresh. We are trying to combine things, and also with the introduction of a new head coach, things are just going to be a bit more slower than we expect. But then we started off on the first league game. We started off very well. We tried our best, we combined very well, we played like we did not have anything to lose. The energy that we used for the league game is the energy that we were supposed to use on yesterday's game. But unfortunately, that is something that we did not use when it came to yesterday's game, because looking at how we were playing, first of all, for the first time in a cup competition, Kaizer Chiefs looked very soft, to be honest with you guys. I was not expecting, Chiefs to win by a lot of margins on yesterday's game. I was expecting them to at least win, because looking at the players that we do have, and also I even said with the lineup, it does look good and it looks very promising, because remember we had Bolapana, whom again, looking at how he played, people are going to say he had a bad game, because of the opportunities that he did miss. But people are not going to talk about the runs that he was making to get himself in those positions, because for me, I feel like Umfana has been doing well. So now the problem is, it's the confidence that he doesn't have. First things first, confidence. Second of all, you look at the situation that we've always talked about. Kaizer just definitely needs a striker coach. When we have a striker coach or the striking department, it's for them to be able to work with those players individually and to look at their finishing, because if finishing here too, it's not very good. Buffet too, I'm still gonna say, and I'm still gonna maintain that no, definitely Kaizer just needs to get at least a striker coach or a striking department that is going to help the club. Yes, I would have hoped we get a win on yesterday's game, but we did not. So Gwenzekile. Still the first game. People are going to say this and this and that, which I do understand. Nami, from my side, I would be blaming everyone. But then you look at how we played. As I've said, we looked a bit soft. Our pressing was not that good. We played like we were respecting a golden arrows, and Kaizer was supposed to dominate, because that is something that we always do. We always dominate golden arrows, but then we fail to beat them most of the time. But on yesterday's game, things were just completely different. It looked like golden arrows was dominating us more than we were supposed to dominate them. But then I think that's what you get with having many youngsters in a club, especially a club like Kaizer Chiefs. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying we need to stop using youngsters, or we should just give up on the dream that we are looking for or what we want to achieve. But remember, I did say, ngikhumbula kahle, my words were, even if you have, the best young players, I even made an example with FC Barcelona, you still need to add, those big players who are going to be able to, add responsibility. If you look at our players on yesterday's game, especially Pambili, which I feel like it's one of the reasons why our players failed to press the Golden Arrows. You had young stars from left to right, especially Lapa Pambili. You have your Wandile Tuba is young, obviously is aggressive, but he is a bit young, a bit short, usa short and we do have your left winger, you do have your right winger, which I believe was played by Mfundo Vilagazi, and then this side, I believe it was played by Luke Batman, if I'm not mistaken. So with those players, the front three players, those are young stars. Yes, I know we are not playing against tough opponents or a big team, sort of to speak, but then having young stars, as I've mentioned, definitely, because you see the front three, it's young stars, and then also now attacking, I believe Nkosimpile Ngcobo was playing that role, which I feel like he did better. So he missed all those chances that he could have used, in a better way. But then, as I've said, confidence-wise, Mfana is lacking. So with that being said, having those young stars without at least one or two more experienced players, it's gonna take us a bit more longer than if we had those, big players helping out the young stars. So for some reason, I think I do understand why Kaizer just decided to keep Ulemodi. It's because of that. They're just trying to balance out the fact that they only have young stars, especially Lapa Pambili. But then you do get players like Olangele Pili. Mfana came on. For me, I feel like he had a good game. He had a wonderful game, especially for his first game. I wish we had more players like Olangele Pili who are young, but more ball driven, determined, and ready to fight for the club, because Umfana came in and he gave his best. Now, it looked like the rest of the team, they were just waiting for him to make all the necessary, changes or the necessary things that we needed by the club in order for us to achieve what we wanted to achieve. But unfortunately, Uzamile, it just wasn't enough, for us to be able to get where we needed to. Because if we could have scored at least one goal, sit draw, and then go to extra time, I do believe that Kaizer Chiefs could have won that game. But then again, changes were made a bit late, substitutions were made a bit late. So on that front end, I do think the coach probably now is still trying to understand this, this new league, because it is new to him. It's not something that he has known his whole life. It's a new league. Obviously, he needs to understand how it works and everything. So Dylan Shepard, a part of the technical team, is the one who was supposed to, let the coach know, okay, there's this and this and that. I know at the end of the day, the final decision comes down to the head coach, but being made aware with, okay, this and this and that against a club like this is what we need to do. It does help certain things a little bit better. The only thing that I'm not happy about is the pressing issue, or like we were too relaxed, and then also those chances that we could not convert in Sakala and Amanje. This is something that we've been crying about from I don't know how many seasons, but then we are still crying about it. Hopefully it is something that they will be working on, and then this is but either way, we do also have Umtasimwe, which for me, I feel like Umchita needs a bit more time. I believe with enough time, maybe he will gain confidence, and then also start listening as the performance that we are looking for. But for now, I know people are blaming him, Bamgrega, and all of that, but it's fine. Let's just see what is going to happen, because at the end of the day, this is football. You will never know what is going to happen. It's nice we have a player like Upili. Also, I do believe Abraham's Magazongen and I is going to make a lot of changes, but then at the end of the day, that is something that's going to take a bit more time than to happen overnight. So yeah, that's just me and my opinions on yesterday's game. Yes, we have been eliminated, but we still do have other cup competitions that we will be attending or playing in. We will be part of, the Nedbank Cup still there, the Black Label. Obviously, MTN8 was the easiest one because you just play quarterfinals, semifinals, and then Ishayile. But then with the other ones, you need to play a bit more, Nedbank Cup, Black Label, and then also we still do have the CAF Confederation, which by the way we received a buy, and then also Nayo E-League. We might start off slow and then end up winning the league. You'll look at what Orlando Pirates did last season. But hey, I'm not saying that is what is going to happen. I'm just saying it is a possibility that we might start like this only to end up winning something great and making history. But either way, from last season we started off very well. So hopefully this season we can find our rhythm and start moving forward in a nice way. And also, Kaizer just needs to make a plan in getting us an attacking midfielder. Big ups to Ayabulela Makwele. I am very impressed by that player, by the way. Bafetu, this is it. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, ngizonibona kusasa with something new. Peace.